My wonderful, beautiful, amazing Aquarius. I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot. For today, I'm going to be doing your general love reading, your 5 card spread. But before I do that, I want to offer these 24 red roses as a token of my love and appreciation for your love, support, and devotion towards my channel and myself. So thank you also for joining me today as well. So this 5 card love reading includes where the first card represents you, the second the other person, the third the relationship, fourth the past, and fifth the future. Then I'm going to draw Vampire Oracle for you, then a Favoli and 1 card from the French tarot deck of Le Tarot Interdit Vampiria. But let's get started with card number 1 for you, and you get the 7 of Wands. And this is, in my eyes, a loyalties kind of card. Like a loyalty towards a beautiful, current, like a long-term relationship, courtship, but also towards yourself as well. Because self-love, self-acceptance, and self-care, and also self-loyalty, that, you value yourself above anything is crucial. Because the thing is with anything, having the sense of protection and protecting your idea, children, your crops, what have you, and so forth, is pretty much going to be benefiting you on so many levels. Instead of that, you feel like that you're just only thinking, well, I always need to put other people's, love and care, before mine. Of course, it's a natural thing to do, 100% your prerogative, because, if your current spouse, lover, fledgling, whoever, requires more assistance, go for it. Do whatever it takes. Don't just say, well, I want to go shopping. I know my husband or my wife or my kids are sick or in the hospital, but I need to buy this new pair of shoes or this new watch and stuff like that, because then, certain things do take precedence, right? But I do love how, this does come across as that you're very loyal and very protective of your family, your friends, or especially yourself in other ways as well. Because who's the other person? Chariot, Cancer energy. You can maybe be with a Cancer. But let's first also look at the Aquarius from a different angle for a moment. You're a very, loyal, protective, individual, but you also have this drive within you to say, okay, it's like you could also be heading away from a negative relationship as well to say, I value my love and my life and my own well-being above other people. So here you could also have taken off and heading away towards, or away from like a negative relationship as well. But it could also be that you love yourself enough that you pretty much just think, okay, I'm now ready to head out into this world. I'm very loving, caring, loyal, and devoted towards anybody out in this world. So I pretty much am now prepared to head out into the world as well. But maybe this person, it could definitely maybe be a Cancer, maybe, somebody from a different element. But this person actually, sees you as a very loving, caring, and protective individual. And maybe that's what, is more or less, driving and inspiring and motivating this person to head off towards you as well. So I just see that either way, it's like, it just looks like this relationship, has so much potential. Or at least this love reading has so much potential, at least in today's, love reading. Relationship, 3 of Cups, celebration city. So, the thing is we'll be celebrating a very loving and supportive and nurturing and protecting relationship of engagement and marriage as well. Maybe you've been through a honeymoon phase, or maybe this is like what are those things, anniversaries as well. But this is definitely, also in a sense of celebrating because you've also left a real, toxic and negative, relationship where now you're doing a lot of, self-care, self-love, self-protection towards yourself. You headed away from this person and now you're doing a lot of, celebratory occasions towards yourself because you know you will deserve it on so many levels, right? But it could definitely also be seen as an engagement or marriage potential as well. In the past, you got the Emperor. This is pretty much an authoritative father figure in the sense, or, maybe you come across as being an authoritative individual, maybe mother, father, in other ways. But the thing is maybe the other person was an authoritative individual, or maybe you came across as a bit too authoritative, and maybe that's what kind of drove this person away because you are definitely a fixed sign in your own way. Of course, you could have mutable, or you could also have cardinal signs, but, technically the sun sign is the main person's identity for that matter. So if you come across as just being too fixed in your own ways and beliefs, maybe that's where the other person also thought, nope, I can't be dealing with this kind of stuff. It's like in other ways, but it could also be that you craved a certain sense of structure as well. And the structure is where you pretty much were so, motivated on doing a lot of maybe self-healing, self-care, self-protection, self-learning, what have you in other ways. And you were incredibly motivated and inspired as well by boarding this beautiful Chariot opportunity and heading off towards the 3 of Cups as well. Because in the future, you get Four of Pentacles. Now, Four of Pentacles is that it's guaranteed a realistic and rational, comfortable future. Now, the thing is, you could be heading away from something and then moving back into like a studio apartment or maybe on a lesser scale. But still, it's good to be in a comfortable setting to know that it's a realistic and rational idea rather than being in this big, mansion like Dracula or a castle like Dracula's castle where you pretty much just will realize that your fate is just so uncertain on so many levels, right? So sometimes it is about quality over quantity and not just thinking, well, I wish I had a big castle and stuff like that. Well, Dracula's castle, it looks far from, any form of comfort in any way possible, right? So it's something to actually consider. But it could also be, how you pretty much, will seek comfort in the future, and maybe you might come across as a very, comfortable person. Maybe you might eventually, will meet somebody who's very loving, caring, and supportive, and also provides you with a sense of comfort as well. Because Oracle says creator, catalyst, maker, mother, father. Like I said, you could be a mother or a father or a catalyst, but I do see, something being created, as especially for you, or at least on your side. Because the thing is as long as something is in the phase of movement and development, or in any form of manifesting or creating, it usually means that something is definitely working right. It's like if you have this motivation and drive to want to actually get out on this chariot, this is also about being a creator as well, because you're creating movement. And this could also be you being an excellent protector and also creating a sense of comfort and stability in the future as well. So I do see something being created, wherever and however it's going to be. But that's, the main key theme for, for the first part of today's love reading. Now let's look at what Favole wants to continue with. Two of Wands. So there's definitely a journeys kind of card. So you could definitely be heading out on this journey in the future. Maybe you and your current spouse, lover, companion are going to go out on journeys. But maybe you could definitely be heading away from something, or maybe this person is going to be heading off towards you as well. But there's definitely also movement taking place. And if you even want to check out one of my previous videos about the history of Elizabeth Bathory and blood, as long as blood is flowing through the human body, it means that the human body is functioning. If there's movement and development, the heart is beating properly, that's movement too. And that's also important to guarantee a successful outcome, right? Instead of actually just thinking, well, there's no movement whatsoever, because then it usually means that something is stuck or there's a setback. Because Le Tarot Interdit Vampiria wants to finish off with... this is like the High Priestess, the Collection News. So this is pretty much the High Priestess in other ways. You could end up with a Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, but if you see how, this is about collecting all of your internal knowledge, your senses, your intuition, and your upper book of knowledge. Yes, you see this vampire holding this jar, of a heart of some kind, but this person could also be hoping, wishing, and dreaming and thinking of some kind of, love and companionship in other ways, and maybe that's what this what you and the metaphorical vampire is all about, is that you're going to be manifesting and creating this sense of, love and support and stuff like that, because there's movement, there's development and stuff like that. I mean, you are definitely creating something. I mean, you could also be, creating, an upcoming fledgling as well, but this is pretty much the High Priestess, pretty much has your back in the future. I mean, has your back in the future, in the sense where, that all of your gained knowledge and experiences are pretty much going to actually will come forth and stuff like that. Because maybe, it's like, if, there's kind of sort of a saying in the sense, it's like whatever you never had in your childhood and stuff like that, you want to actually bring forth to your future fledglings and your spouse. Let's say that you had a mother or father who wasn't loyal to you, then you end up becoming very loyal. If you had an authoritative father figure in your life, then you actually just think, okay, I don't want to be all too dominant and controlling. Yes, I do want to provide a sense of structure and comfort and stability as well. But, I see so much passion. I see a beautiful celebratory occasion, and the High Priestess here has your beautiful, back in the future. Wow. I love this reading for my beautiful Aquarius. But anyway, it's, it may come across as a bit shorter than usual, but I actually recently started thinking how it's mostly based off of quality over quantity. You know, how sometimes it's good to be short to the point than just to be beating around the bush and wasting a lot of time, you know. But other than that, I'm going to have to leave it at this for now. But if this reading resonated for Aquarius placements out in this world, please feel free to reach out or even subscribe if you're ever interested in joining my channel for more vampire stories, historical facts, themes, Dracula stuff. And please feel free to wait around for the upcoming All Hallows Eve, Danse Macabre performance that's going to be taking place in a cemetery. But other than that, I want to thank you so much for joining me. I love you guys incredibly. In a few days, I'm going back to general readings, so for now, I'm just doing love in general. I'm also up for personal readings, so please feel free to browse through the different types of prices for personal readings on this project page web link that I have on my YouTube channel. But other than that, I want to thank you so much again. I love you guys incredibly, and best of luck on where this journey may take you.